Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome back to Alaska Stock Talk. We're going to quickly go over OCGN again, of course, my favorite stock, and I'm going to kind of talk about the moving averages, help you guys kind of figure out how to understand how to use them. So we'll take a look at OCGN and compare it to some other charts that I've been looking at to kind of help you guys get a better understanding of how to use these in case you're wondering. Maybe you're just a holder of the stock and you're not really into technical analysis that much. Some people think that it doesn't really matter, but technical analysis is a big part of trading and or even just holding a stock too if you're interested in following the stock price. Of course, most of us are, right? Long-term investors aren't really that into watching it, but if you're watching this video and you're on Twitter and other websites every day checking it, obviously you're interested in following it. So this is one way you can use the charts to help you figure out what might be going on. And so let's get into it here. Alright, so we're going to start off looking at OCGN here. And we're on the daily, and we have our 13 SMA, 50, and 200 SMA up here. If you haven't watched some of my other videos where we talked about the crosses that we've been having here that are showing bullish patterns, you can go back, watch the last couple of videos where I talk about that. We're going to go into it a little bit more. So on Monday, I'm pretty excited to see what is going to happen next, right? We have our 13 SMA coming up to the 200. Hopefully it crosses and keeps going bullish. That will be good for us, obviously. Hopefully the 50 will continue to follow up, and that would be great, right? So let's go ahead and take a look excuse me, at some other scenarios that could happen, right? Because anything can happen. The market can turn. We could get some bad news. Yeah, that's another thing with technical analysis, right? The chart does follow the technical analysis when there's no news happening, right? It definitely follows it then. If Shankar, somebody puts out funding news, any sort of bullish news, obviously that can send us up in a very bullish way, right? Straight up. And then we wouldn't be paying attention to the technicals as close as we are at a time like this where we did have some news, obviously, right? That's why we've been in an upward trend since October, where they've announced OCU 400 having positive stuff. But now when we're waiting, we're kind of consolidating here, finding support back by these levels, we're going to start kind of following the chart again. So let's take a look at TMF. Here is a 20-year treasury. We can see, this is a very possible case for us too, right? Once the 50 is coming up closer to the 200 SMA, we may be getting some rejection. So this looks bearish, right? The 13 crosses the 50, which is bullish, so it gets some upward trajectory, but then every time it gets close to the 200 it gets rejected, right? That's bearish. This is what we've been doing in OCGN as well the last 2 years. You can see the 13 cross the 50 here, again showing very bullish momentum. Thought people were thinking it was going to cross the 200 here and continue bullish, but again it got rejected at the 200, and then it got rejected at, as you can see, was following the 13 here, and then it got rejected at that and came down, or probably is going to come down to the 50. We'll see if it's going to hold at the 50. If not, then we could use some fibs to kind of see where it may go from there. It may come down to the 53.53 here, 49, before it comes back up. So there is a lot of volume happening here though, so it's very possible tomorrow it could bounce off of here and start heading back up. We don't know. I believe what turned down this momentum is that right around here is when job reports came out and they were fairly strong, which then turned the treasury back around. Um, okay, so let's go on to the next one. I was going to mention. So yeah, these are the short-term momentum, right? When it's following the smaller one, the 13. So sometimes it'll follow those shorter ones, and then if it happens to fall below, it'll go back to the lower ones. So let's take a look and see what it does at this next one here. So this is Robinhood stock, similar to TMF, but you can see it did have some breakouts even above the 200. A lot of fake outs, right? It crossed the 200, is looking really bullish, and it came back down. So this is something else that can happen to OCGN. So I'm just giving this, showing you guys these examples as warnings, so you don't just think OCGN is going to go straight up. We could have these corrections, anything can happen, and it can come down here. Just like on this chart, I mean, it can come down back beneath the 200. So even if in the next 2 days, if OCGN does, if the 13 and the 50 does come up and cross, it does not mean that we can't come back down to find some lower support, back on some Fibonacci levels. We could come back down to test, right? Even we could come down, right? Let's take a look here. Let me get rid of this. We could come back down, right? Just because even if we cross tomorrow on Monday, right, the 8th, even if we cross this and show short-term bullishness, we could come back down. Or, I mean, show like mid-term bullishness. It could still be short-term bullishness because just like you see here, when it comes back down, it comes back down to meet the 13 SMA. So that's very possible for us to, if we look at a bullish one here, let's go ahead and do that. So this is Altmoon. This is what we want to see, right? This would be great to see for us once we cross. We want the 13 and the 50 to come up and cross here. It's been super bullish ever since both of them have crossed. The price has just continued to go up, or at least since the 13, and you can see it's been coming down, bouncing off the 13 and the 13. So you can keep an eye out on that too for OCGN. We can continue to do the same thing. I would love to see that. If this keeps going up and we keep bouncing off the 13, that'd be great. But that would be one thing for you to keep an eye on. If we're going up like this and then all of a sudden you see that we don't bounce back off the 13 and it comes back down and it starts breaking down, then you know that we may come down to bounce off the 50, which could be like up here at that point. So that's kind of how you use these to figure that out. So let me come back here to Meta. This is kind of what I would like to see, what we should all kind of want to see. This is a long term here. This is a 2 years, right, in Meta. It crashed down, similar to us in OCGN, until it hit this bottom point, and then it starts coming back up. We can see the 13 crosses the 50, which is bullish. They both head up towards the 200. This is what we want for OCGN. And you can see that it's signified like a bull run. This is when tech was coming down, right? And then now tech has been coming back up. It's been bouncing off the 13. You can see bouncing off the 13 until you can see, all of a sudden it dropped beneath the 13, and it's dropped beneath the 50. And it tried to come down to touch the 200, but it's hit some support levels here. You can see back here there's lots of support in this range, so it's bounced back up, and now it's following back the 13 and the 50 again. Okay, so yeah, I would love to see OCGN start doing like this, but we kind of need to see something like this in the short term, right? At least to get back above $1 till we can find some support levels above $1. like this, that would be great. Hopefully we can do that. Alright, so that's kind of just what I wanted to show you guys for now, so you can kind of start figuring out how to use the SMAs and that kind of stuff, and not just be guessing. You know, you don't have to be guessing what's going to be happening. Start looking up some other YouTube videos and how to use these indicators. And I think I might just start making videos like this, how to use indicators, patterns and stuff, to so you're not just out there blind, right? There's a reason why these things exist. They're not just, it's not just magic, right? It's math. It's not there's a reason why it exists. I'll just say that, alright? So, thank you so much for watching this. If you've been following along, I know it's probably pretty boring. Hopefully I'll get better at making these videos. And that's that. Alright. Have a good night, you guys.